We're going to go ahead and get started with Budget and Finance Committee meeting. October 16th is Bosses Day, so hopefully every one of you sent something to your bosses. We're going to begin with Resolution 2017-889, sponsors Vircher and Gilmore. Approves a grant from the National Association of County and City Health Officials to the Metro Board of Health to provide programmatic activities to expand partnerships to reduce HIV and other STDs among adolescents. I believe we have a substitute. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Council Lady Gilmore.
Yes, Madam Chair. I was curious to know what was the substitute. Did I miss hearing it? I know we moved it, but I didn't hear any.
Sure. I think the committee that you chair very sensitively detected this, but the caption originally was restricted to providing programmatic activities to reduce HIV and other STDs. The purpose of the grant is actually much broader and implements a CDC evidence-based program for fostering safe and supportive environment for youth, including those programs, but not exclusively. So this broadens the caption.
Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Now we're on the bill as substituted. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Bill passes as substituted. RS 2719 sponsors Roberts, Vircher, and others, approves a housing incentive grant between Metro Government and Mikan Development for the conversion of workforce housing units located at 1211 51st Avenue North. I believe this is being withdrawn. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Is there any discussion? Council Lady Gilmore.
Yes, Madam Chair, I thought we were moving to defer this and not withdraw it. No?
No, the notes I have is for it to be withdrawn.
Okay, could you?
Due to continued conversations as it relates to
Okay, I was
it.
just going to ask for an explanation. All right, thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? Bill is withdrawn. RS 2017-909 sponsors Vircher and Allen, approves a housing incentive grant between Metro Government and Mikan Development for the construction of workforce housing units located at 5010 Illinois Avenue. This has also been recommended for withdrawal as well due to continued conversations as it relates to this development. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Bill is Council, next. You're on the next one?
Yeah.
All opposed? Seeing none, bill is withdrawn. Resolution RS 2017-910 sponsors Sledge and Vircher, approves a public facility revenue improvement bonds by the Sports Authority and authorizes an official statement to be distributed in connection with the sale of bonds. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilman Sledge.
I greatly appreciate the support of my colleagues, but we're deferring this one meeting so we can have our public hearing and more discussion on it. So I would ask that the committee defer one meeting, please.
Thank you so much. It's been moved and properly seconded for a one meeting deferral. Any discussion? All in favor? Are you on a discussion, Council Lady Allen? Okay. Opposed? Bill is deferred for one meeting. Resolution 2017-911 sponsors Vircher, appropriates $1 million from the Community Partnership Fund to various nonprofit organizations selected to receive Community Partnership Grant funds. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just was wondering what the criteria was for choosing these particular organizations and the particular amounts that were allotted, since we have a similar bill coming up to talk about a merit-based grant program.
Director Lomax.
Okay, I'd like to remind you, during the budget process, what was proposed that we would take the recipients that received awards in FY17 and offer to provide those same nonprofits. I think the level was 60%, 60% of what they had before. And we got in contact with each of those nonprofits, and during the course of the past month or so, they've renegotiated scope documents because, of course, they had to say what they could do with less money. And so the appropriations now are being brought back to you all for recommendation.
Thank you. And so when we went through the budget process, I'm guessing these were in that administrative fund towards the end of the budget book.
Exactly.
So
The 1 million was just set aside for the purpose of doing these allocations, and we have to bring those back to you all to
Okay.
make the specific recommendations for the grants.
So what I was seeing in the budget book then was what they had been given last year was the 100% amount, and then there was a zero in this year's column. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so none of those received anything during the budget process, and this is our
Well,
chance at,
I wouldn't say none of those, because a couple, I
Few
think
of those.
At least one of those received a direct appropriation, and for those that received direct appropriations in this budget, yeah, but not from this program, that they would not be eligible for funding out of this 1 million.
okay. Okay, all right, well, I appreciate the explanation. I just remember seeing all these earlier and wasn't clear on how that process had worked. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you. So will we be able to see all the organizations that these funds are allocated for?
Yes, they're listed in the analysis.
Okay, I need to look at the analysis. Then I had one more question as well. Will they be able to apply again since it's?
Yes, we will be bringing forward a new process based upon the legislation that's currently pending to have a merit-based program for the next budget cycle.
Okay, and they have to come under that new process?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question as well was for clarification as it related to this process in the last budget season. So what's reflected in the analysis, I apologize if you could just restate, Ms. Lomax O'Neill, is 60% for those folks who were already participating in the previous program?
Yes.
Okay, and so in our budget process, we had some nonprofits that were surprised by their reduction in allocation. Was that as part of this program, or those were separate line items? Were those folks who received that surprise considered for this, or will that be a consideration in the next new program?
Well, in terms of a surprise, historically, this has always been a competitive grant program. So there was never really a guarantee that any of the nonprofits would get a specific amount within a budget cycle, because there would be an application process, and a committee would go through a process of selecting and the nonprofits and the amounts to be allocated to them.
Okay, I guess by way of surprise, I just mean as far as the timing of our budget discussions. I think there were some people who are certain nonprofits. I'll just speak specifically. I have a constituent who has concern about the Entrepreneurship Center, and that.
The Entrepreneur Center was not part of this.
Okay.
That was a different line item in the budget. It's in there as a direct appropriation.
Okay.
And that was reduced in the substitute budget.
Understood, and that's kind of what I'm inquiring about. So that was a separate line
Yes,
item.
that was totally separate from this process.
And will they enter into the new process, or they will then be considered again for a line item?
Yeah, right now they are direct appropriation.
Direct appropriation. Okay, thank you for the clarity.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Council
it.
Lady. Council Lady Weiner.
Thank you, Chair. Just to reiterate what Ms. Lomax O'Neill shared is that on Bill 2017-905, where we established that merit-based grant program, these people will morph into that and will be able to apply for that with stipulated criteria for their inclusion, the award, and ways that we'll be holding them accountable.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Gilmore, were you seeking additional recognition? Council Lady Gilmore.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to just ask, how did we come up with 60% of what they had before? Why 60%?
It was based just solely on availability of funds, because there had been more money that was allotted to the Community Enhancement Fund when it was in place.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Dow.
Thank you. I just wanted you to clarify, because I heard you say one thing and heard Council Lady Weiner say another. So I want to make sure that I have this process understood right. The people who are already receiving this grant that's participating, did you say that we're going to have a line item and they'll continue to receive their funds, or will they have to go through the merit process just like everybody else?
I think we said both.
Okay.
And the reason I think we said both is because you've got these what I'm going to consider to be merit-based grant programs, but then there are also some nonprofits that have a line item in the budget that are outside of this appropriation.
Okay.
One of those, for example, is required by the charter.
Like the
that
Venture
we
Science
provide
Center.
the Humane Association.
Okay.
The charter says we give them money every year, so
Right.
they don't have to go through a competitive process to get access to those funds.
Okay. I just want to be sure that I understood that correctly. Thank you.
That answers your question, Council Lady?
It does.
Okay.
It does. I just want to make sure I got it right.
Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution is recommended. RS 2017-912 sponsors Pardue, Virtue, and Roten, authorizes the Director of Public Property to accept a donation of property along Old Springfield Highway from the City of Goodlettsville for use as part of the park system. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-913 sponsors Virtue and Roten, accepts totally outstanding teen advocates for the library grant for the Nashville Public Library Foundation to the Metro Public Library to represent library community events, meetings, and institutions. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you. Ms. Chair, I was hoping with somebody from the library that could walk us through this program.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Angela McElrath-Prosser, representing the Nashville Public Library. This program is for teenagers to come and work in our studio and outreach to the community and their peers and talk about the great things the library does and what they're getting from that experience.
How do you choose the teens?
They apply. If there's a job application that's let out, an announcement is let out through HR, and they apply.
And when does the announcement come out?
Let's see, last year it came out, or actually this year it came out in August 10th.
Okay, and how many positions are there for teens to do this?
Then the total program, there's about 5, and then in the studio side, there's a few more, but in this one, it's about 5.
So is the HR website the only place that teens would find out? They would have to know about it if they were going to the library, or either go to the Metro HR website, and that's the only places we're
As
advertising?
far as I know, but I can find out if there's any other places.
Okay, I think that would be pretty good.
Okay.
And then how much does it pay for the teens?
Let's see, they are $11.25 an hour.
Okay, thank you. All right, I would like to make a recommendation if I could as well.
Yes, Council Lady.
But I will give the librarian the opportunity to check, but I would just encourage that we advertise at more places. If it is not, I don't know, she said she would check. If it's not, if it's only advertised in the library and the HR website, I think that's a little mature for teens, and maybe that we could advertise it in other places.
Thank you, Council Lady. Did you note it?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-915 sponsors Virtue and Withers, approves a contract between Metro Government and Workbay to provide an integrated workforce development platform for the Opportunity Now internship program. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Councillady Weiner.
I just have a question about the sole source. I know that there are others that do integrated workforce development platforms. And so I was curious, what elements do these folks offer that nobody else does?
We'll let the
Pertinent to what we
Honorable
need?
former Councilman at Large Stein answer that for us.
Thank you, and I'm joined by Ed Gilden, who's from ITS. You approved a sole source for this company a year ago through their work with the Nashville Tech Council. They had worked on a variety of platforms that helped us do this more quickly for Opportunity Now, and they were already in the field. This is a second sole source because the first year we just learned an awful lot. These people are now helping us improve it and do all the things we need to do going forward. This is for 2 years, and then we will bid this out after that 2-year period of time, but dealing with the magnitude of it and the speed of putting this in place with their experience with the IT Council and ITS is why you all approved the sole source a year ago.
Is this the team that's out of Memphis?
They're working in Memphis. They're out of here, and they're doing a lot of work in Memphis, yes.
Okay. That's all I had.
Thank you, Councillady. Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-916 sponsors Virtue and Withers, approves a grant from the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to provide administrative assistance. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Councillady Gilmore.
Is someone from the Career Advancement Center that could explain how this will help this administrative assistant versus what they've been doing before?
Yes, he's walking down now.
Good afternoon, Council. So this money is administrative funds that comes with the grant funding. This contract, as well as the next 3 grant contracts on the list, are all the state came up with extra funds, and as a fiscally responsible area that spends all of our money, we're eligible for more funding when it becomes available. So they extended us extra grant funding for our adult and dislocated and youth contracts, and with that comes a 10% admin fee, and so that's what this admin contract's for.
So do you already have someone in-house, or will you be opening up a new position for someone to monitor these grants?
No, we'll be spread among our current administrative staff.
All right, then. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Councillady. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-917 sponsors Wazo, Virtue and Withers, approves an amendment to a grant from the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to Nashville Career Center to establish programs and services to be used for the youth program. I do have a letter to approve. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Councillady Gilmore.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I wanted to see I know at one time they were breaking it down by districts, the constituents that were able to receive the services. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is a question for the chair. I would like for the Career Advancement Center to come before us and just show us the resources they use and how they're broken out among the different districts, since we have so many of the grants that come before us that are for youth and for dislocated workers. If we could have a presentation, I think that would be very insightful, so we could just see how the money is being used.
We'll make note of that. Thank you, Councillady. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-918 sponsors Wazo, Virtue and Withers, approves an amendment to a grant from the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to establish programs to prepare adult service recipients for employment. Do you have a letter of approval from the sponsors? Their motion. It's been moved and properly seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-919, sponsors Wazo, Virtue, and Withers, approves an amendment to a grant from Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to establish career services for the eligible adults, youth, and dislocated workers with barriers to employment. There's a letter to approve. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-920, sponsors Virtue and Roberts, approves 2 agreements between the United States Department of Justice and the Metro Nashville Police Department in participation in the United States Department of Justice Equitable Sharing Program. I do have a letter for approval. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017, let's see. 921. So without objection, we can take RS 2017-921 through 925. These are state grant programs. Do I see any objection? Okay. So RS 2017-921, sponsors Virtue and Roberts, approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Metro Nashville Police Department and the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police for the distribution of state grant funds to assist with investigations of internet crimes against children. There is a letter for approval. RS 2017-922, sponsors Virtue and Roberts, approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Metro Nashville Police Department and the City of Spring Hill Police Department for the distribution of state grant funds to assist with investigations of internet crimes against children. It's also a letter to approve. Resolution RS 2017-923, sponsors Virtue and Roberts, approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Metro Police Department and the Dixon County Sheriff's Office for the distribution of state grant funds to assist with the investigations of internet crimes against children. Also a letter for approval. RS 2017-924, sponsors Virtue and Roberts, approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Metro Police Department and the City of Cookeville Police Department for the distribution of state grant funds to assist with investigations of internet crimes against children. RS 2017-925, sponsors Virtue and Roberts, approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Metro Nashville Police Department and the Williamson County Sheriff's Office for the distribution of state grant funds to assist with investigations of internet crimes against children. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted, if someone was from the police department, could just explain how these partnerships work. It looks relatively simple on the paper, but I don't want to take it for granted, and I would like for them to explain it.
Good afternoon. So the question was, how do the partnerships work?
Yes. How do all the different partnerships work with the various counties, and what's the difference between the counties and then the chief of police? If you could just explain that.
Yeah, it's basically a pass-through of the funds to them so that they can use it for their own prosecutions of internet crimes against children.
So do y'all work together on the crimes, or is you just giving them the money and you do not work with them directly?
Well, in some cases they do, depending on the cases, but we're a pass-through for the source of the funds.
Because you wrote the grant? Is that what, is it because we wrote the grant?
Because the grant comes to us, and then with the expectation that we will distribute funds to the other assisting agencies.
Okay, but you're not directly working with them?
It depends on the case. There may be cases where they're cross jurisdictions where we have to assist each other, but no, not always.
But in the largest capacity, you're saying you're just basically a pass-through?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolutions passes. RS 2017-926, sponsors Virtue and Roberts, approves an agreement between the United States Department of Justice and the Metro Nashville Police Department to provide police assistance to the Middle Tennessee Drug Enforcement Task Force. There is a letter for approval. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Council Lady Gilmore. Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just had a question. Is this targeted at any specific group of drugs? I mean, is this to deal with the opioid epidemic, or is it strictly heroin and other stuff, or just marijuana, or can someone address that?
This is a continuation of agreement that we've had. We've supplied officers to participate in task force agreements for about 27 years now, and this is a continuation of that agreement. They work on all sorts of cases to include opioid cases and other sorts of investigations as well.
So it spans the whole spectrum of illegal narcotics?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-929, sponsors Virture, authorizes the Metro Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Ryan Haraway against Metro government in the amount of $10,000. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Councilman Pulley.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Can I get a representative from the police department up here? I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I understand this is this settlement arises out of an improper use of force. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you started an improper use of force investigation out of an arrest. Was this a proactive investigation or a response to a complaint?
It was a response to a complaint.
So somebody complained to you, and then you went out and investigated it?
That's
Is that right? And then as a result, the police officer was disciplined with whatever disciplinary measures you laid on him?
That's correct.
All right. So statistically, how is this captured? If somebody were to look at statistics of complaints that police investigate, which are reported to you, then this would be reported as an actionable item on that?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Suppose no one complained to you and you initiated this investigation based on your observations at the scene. Would that be reported in a similar fashion or a different fashion?
It would also be reported.
Would it be reported, would I be able to retrieve that report if I were to look for actionable items based on complaints, or would it be in another category?
It would be, this was a basis on an investigation conducted by the Office of Professional Accountability, and they track complaints both supervisor initiated and those initiated by.
So both initiated by a supervisor and initiated by someone from the outside?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, that's the only question I have.
Councilman Leonardo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess this question is for Attorney Cooper, but in the analysis, it looks as though there's some sort of an agreement where the Metro Hospital doesn't have any subrogation interest. Are they waived that because he was in custody at the time? Is that how that works?
Yes, we pay General Hospital for the cost of providing services to the inmates or to those who are in custody. He went straight from the scene to the hospital, so he did not incur any out-of-pocket medical expenses.
All right, thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-930, sponsors Virture, authorizes the Metro Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Ivan High against Metro government in the amount of $6,500. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2017-931, sponsors Virture, authorizes the Metro Department of Law to compromise and settle the property damage claim of Troy and Reba Pool against Metro government in the amount of $37,500. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Councilman Pulley.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Can I get someone from Codes up here? I just have a couple of brief questions.
We have Director Cobb.
How you doing, Director? Thanks for coming to the meeting today. So this resulted from, as I understand it, there were demolition permits. The property was then sold, and then there was an agreement reached where the property owner would then handle all of the necessary demo and leave the necessary buildings on there. And somehow or another, there was a link in that chain that got dropped. Can you explain that?
Correct. We had ordered the residence, which was fire damage, to be demolished. There was a new owner who had bought the property from some heirs of the previous owner, and they contacted the department to see if they could be given permission to demolish the property voluntarily. Of course, we're interested in doing that, but at the same time, we had just initiated a list of demolition properties to the finance department and their purchasing division to put those properties out for bid. So while we were negotiating with the new owner for them to demolish their own fire damaged residence, we were also soliciting bids for Metro to act to demolish the property and record liens on the property. And the discussions were separate at the time. So if you look at the timing in the analysis that has been presented, you'll see that all this was going on pretty simultaneously. And when they reached the agreement to give the owner permission, somehow they did not pull that property off the bid list. So the bids went on through. A bid was awarded, in fact, and where we flagged the computer system on the parcel to indicate that it is under demolition action, when they reached the agreement, they released the flag on the parcel, but didn't pull it off the demolition list. So the demolition bid was received and the contract let, and the contractor for Metro went out and demolished the only building remaining on the property, which was the outbuilding. In this case, the recommendation, and all this took place about 2.5 years ago, and was recently brought forward to us by the legal department. The plaintiffs who were involved have subsequently sold the property, but sold it for some $32,000 less than the true value of the property. And so they've reached an agreement to settle for a total of $37,500, which is the loss of value, some cleanup costs they incurred, and legal fees up to this point. It's estimated that building would have a value or a cost to construct it of about $50,000. So if this goes to court, we think, the legal department believes, and we agree, that Metro would lose the case. It would cost the $50,000, the cleanup cost, and their attorney's fees, and would be substantially more than what they've agreed to settle for.
So we essentially demolished a building we shouldn't have demolished, and from your description, it looks like it was a situation the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing.
That's correct.
And have we put anything in place to prevent something like this from happening again in the future?
It's just that when we've discussed it within the department pretty thoroughly, it's just that when we allow a case to come off of a demolition order, we need to review it more thoroughly to find if it's out for bid, if there's some process where Metro will enact the demolition, and if so, we need to pull it from the list.
So are you comfortable knowing that that will happen moving forward?
I am comfortable knowing that we've discussed it thoroughly and we've said that's what we shall do. It's occurred, I guess, one way of looking at it, it's occurred once in 28 years I'm been associated with the department. I understand it was a matter, it was a mistake clearly on the department's side, and we, through discussions, and believe that we will handle that more carefully, more deliberately in the future.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I have nothing further.
Seeing no further discussion, Councilor Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Cobb?
Director
I
Cobb.
apologize, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't see you walking away there. I was just going to inquire when something like this comes up in codes that you recognize was, from a process management standpoint, that there was a challenge there that, you need to improve, and you've made a note of that, is there any record of that? Do you do an internal memorandum that you can share with the council and the community can see that we acknowledge this was a problem, this is how we're going to do this in the future? Then you share that with your staff, it's daylighted. How do you address that?
I have not prepared a memorandum of this. I'll be happy to do so.
Do you consider this to be just very anomalous? I mean, in your time, has something like this happened before?
There was some time before I ever joined the department that the department actually tore down the wrong house before. We've done that before. That was maybe 50 years ago.
Okay.
While I've been there, we've had an incident where the contractor tore down the wrong house. He was supposed to tear down the house on one side of the street. There were houses immediately across from each other on the same street were under demolition orders, and they tore down the wrong one, but that was on the contractor.
I guess I would just ask from, just from an institutional memory standpoint, we're getting ready to have a leadership transition here, and as your staff kind of ages and transitions, I just wanted to suggest that having an internal memorandum as to your policy and procedure when you have something like this
Correct.
would be helpful.
We will do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution passes. We're on bills on second reading. BL 2017-802, sponsor Elrod, amends the Metro Code to revise the penalties for improper right-of-way closures and to require the Department of Public Works to establish a way for the public to submit evidence of improper closures. There's a request for a one-meeting deferral. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Bill is deferred for one meeting. BL 2017-912, sponsor Schulman, amends the Metro Code to require the Metro Social Services Commission to open a Metro-operated facility at night for people in Nashville when temperatures reach 32 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Is there a motion? It's been moved and properly seconded. I got you, Vice Chair. I got
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I forgot to.
Vice Chair Schulman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are some groups that would like to talk about this. I know that there's a plan out there, so I'm going to spend some time talking to groups and make sure that we can see if we can come up with something that will work for everybody. But this is important. Don't like to see people out there when it's cold outside. Need to bring them inside. So what I'd like to do is move to defer one meeting.
Thank you, Councilman. It's been moved for deferral for one meeting and properly seconded. Council Lady Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Councilman Schulman, for bringing this bill. I commend you on that. My question was regarding the fiscal note. I mean, I know that Nashville has done a great job of kind of pulling together and using community centers and park centers to address these needs when we do have cold weather. But I just wonder from an efficiency standpoint and making sure we are doing that to the best extent that we can. Maybe we should not be just opening one. Maybe we should be doing two. And have we looked at that kind of as a city? Like, what is the cost to parks to stay open? How do we staff that? Has there been any fiscal analysis on those past cold weather events?
Ms. Tuckett is going to come up.
Good evening. Yes, there have been. There's a group of about 15 partners, including different metro departments that are affected by it, that regularly meet and look at the plan the community plan that's out there. Looks at the goal of everybody is to have an overflow shelter that's focused on saving lives before we look at any fiscal notes and costs. But Metro has looked at that, and right now there are 2 sites if needed, and nobody's ever turned away.
Certainly, and I wasn't suggesting we should not house folks and wait for fiscal notes in that regard, but I I'm glad to hear that y'all are looking at that, because I know we just want to make sure we're doing that the best that we can possibly do and provide more if need be. Okay, thank you.
Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask if someone could send a copy of or link to the cold weather plan that's on the Homelessness Commission's site to all the council members, because it's helpful to see that. I think that answers some of the questions that we might have, and not everyone may be aware that that's out there. So I'm not sure how many.
Great suggestion, Council Lady Judith. She's nodding in the back. She
Okay.
will do that.
So if we can do that, that would be great.
Thank you so much to all council members. Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. I wanted to take a moment of personal privilege because I think something wonderful just happened to Ms. Thackett as it relates to the Homeless Commission. If she could come forward and share.
I guess my appointment to director?
Yes,
Is it?
that would be it, yes. Yes.
Thank you.
I just wanted us to congratulate her because she's worked many years and very hard on the Homeless Commission, and so it's awesome to know that she's now the director for that. So I just wanted to openly congratulate you in front of everyone and thank you for your many years of hard work.
Thank you so much. Council Lady Dow. Oh, I hit you off. Give me one. Council Lady Dow.
Okay, I just want to add one other thing, is that Ms. Thackett, she also received an award from the Nashville scene as the best employee that Metro rehired that's already an employee. So I thought that was interesting too.
Congratulations again. Thank you so much. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Bill passes. Want to remind council members that CIB requests are due today. Make sure you check your emails as it relates to the transit announcement tomorrow and the logistics as it relates to when the shuttle is leaving and so forth. And that concludes our Budget and Finance meeting.